You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. You good?
Absolutely fine. How are we doing?
We're good. That was King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Boogeyman Sam. And before that was The Slider by T-Rex from the album The Slider. The King Gizzard was from the forthcoming album Fishing for Fishes, out April 26, Australian band. That's good. I like that. We're here with my guest, journalist, music journalist, Chris Salewicz.
Vich, yeah.
Vich. I haven't finished. Let me finish.
Sorry.
Salewicz. Say it.
Chris Salewicz.
Oh, man.
It's easy when you know.
Well, it's when it's your name, it's easy.
Yeah, that's right. You can imagine how it's pronounced all my life, of course.
Yeah. Did you get that a lot then?
Yeah, of course. Salewicz.
Yeah. Sandwich.
Sandwich. Joe Strummer used to call me that.
Did you get that at school a lot? Sandwich.
Sally bitch.
Silly bitch.
Silly bitch.
Was you wait, is that a Polish name?
Yeah, my dad was Polish. Came over to England during the war.
But you so you were born in England?
Yeah. Yorkshire.
Nice.
So I
Yorkshire.
don't have a Yorkshire accent because he didn't have a Yorkshire accent. And my mum was half Italian, so she didn't have a Yorkshire accent.
But you sound like an English accent.
It's an English accent, absolutely. I live in London.
Do you know David Coverdale? He's from Yorkshire.
Is he really? He's from Sheffield or somewhere, isn't he? Like that, I think. Yes. No, I don't know him.
Yeah.
But because he played with Jimmy Page, of course.
Yes.
Coverdale Page.
Yes. And that's the reason you're here.
Indeed.
You've got a new book.
That's right. Jimmy Page, The Definitive Biography.
Thank you.
Published today, in fact.
Really?
Actually, today.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you didn't bring me a bleeding copy.
No, I thought they'd sent you a copy.
Who's they?
The publisher.
The bloke behind the curtain?
De Capo, yeah, the bloke behind the curtain who hasn't done it. I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah. Oh, De Capo, that's what my book was on.
Yes.
In America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the English publisher was, but I really enjoyed your book. I thought it was great. I mean, not just like it's quite good, really great, man.
Do you read a lot of books? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I do. I read, 2 or 3 a week.
I just bought a book on Amazon. Don't tell anybody. But it's a crazy book. I wonder if I'm sure you've read it. It's about hippies in Laurel Canyon.
Oh, okay. Which one is it?
I've got it in there. I'll bring it in, but it's kind of on the front. They're like in shadows.
Yes.
It's about the conspiracies of, they were like plants for the government. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I think I've read that one. I've read a couple of books about Laurel Canyon.
Yeah, I'll go and get it in a minute. But
because it's interesting in the light of that Tarantino film that's coming out, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right.
And that whole era.
Yeah.
The Sharon
60s.
Tate killing, the late year 69.
Yeah. Here it comes. Here comes the book. Thank you. Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon.
Oh, let's have a look.
Who's the author?
David McGowan. I'm not sure if I have read this. I'll get this. It looks brand new, doesn't it?
It's totally brand new. I just bought it. I haven't even looked at it. The only thing I'm disappointed about is there's no bleeding pictures.
Yeah, I'd like some picture of that time. I mean, I remember going up to John Mayall's place there.
Oh, yeah.
John
Me
McVie's
too.
up there.
Right at the top there.
Which burnt down, of course.
Yes.
In a bad fire.
Yes.
But that seems part of the problem of living up there, doesn't it?
It is a risk, especially these days. But they've always had fires.
But I went to a party at someone's place on Saturday night, a little bit higher up Laurel Canyon, and it was on such a steep...
Hanging off the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, and apparently every time there's, rain, it's kind of mud hurtles down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fabulous place.
You
but
pay extra for that.
You pay extra for that. It seemed a bit of a problem to me.
It is. I mean, fires, man. Malibu, Calabasas got mullered last year.
I know. Nothing to do with global warming, of course.
Well, whatever.
Where do you live?
I live up Benedict Canyon.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you prefer living here to Shepherd's Bush?
A little bit.
You would really, wouldn't you?
But I mean, it's even Shepherd's Bush has changed a lot since when I was a kid.
You know what's happened to like the BBC in White City?
What's happened?
It's not there anymore. It's all
gone?
been luxury flats. There's a
Oh.
Starbucks there now.
Did they level it and start again, or
No,
use what they
no,
had?
they used what they had.
Because it's a beautiful old
It's
building.
a beautiful old building. No, it's expensive apartments now. A friend of mine's just getting an office opposite it.
Wow.
It's not there. BBC is not there.
Yeah. Well, things change.
It's changed.
Yeah, they do. They always change. When you get old like us, we moan about
You
everything.
can remember it all, can't
Well,
you?
you moan. Oh, it's gone.
I saw you when you supported the 101ers at the Nashville.
Ah, the one with the fight.
When Vivian attacked someone in the
Malcolm.
front row. Were you involved in the fight? I can't remember.
I kind of threw a couple
I
of
think you
things.
did.
Yeah.
And Rotten got involved in it.
He got involved. Yeah, it was a little bit of a punch up, but it got the front of the. Was it the Melody Maker?
You got it,
Enemy,
yes,
one of them.
Yes, which was obviously the idea. I realised even then.
Yeah, I didn't get it at the time that it was like
It was,
it was Malcolm.
Stunt.
Yeah, but he didn't tell us.
Of course he didn't.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, we weren't in on it, but he knew what would probably happen. But was that the first time you ever saw the Pistols?
Yeah, I only saw you then, and I saw you with Sid at Brunel University.
The last
London gig.
Last London gig.
Yeah.
We did the Wolverhampton thing, and then that was it.
And then up in Wakefield
for the kids,
Wakefield.
for the firemen.
Yeah. Christmas Day.
Yeah, and who knew it was going to break up 2 weeks later?
Yeah.
Bizarre. So, had you heard of the Sex Pistols before you went into the Nashville?
Yeah.
Were you there to see the 101ers?
No, I came to see the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
But I knew the 101ers. I was interested in the 101ers.
Yeah.
But the Pistols I wanted to see because you'd done that gig at the Marquee.
With Hetty and the Hot Rods.
Yes, exactly. And
Where Rotten had never heard a monitor before.
Yeah.
And freaked out.
Yeah, of course he did.
And kicked it into the audience, the monitor.
And Neil Spencer had reviewed you. And in fact, who was the editor? He wasn't the editor of the NME then. He was on the NME, and I was on the NME. And so I went with him to that Nashville gig.
Yeah. What did you think? Honestly.
I couldn't really get an impression because of the fights. And Bernie Rhodes came up to me some months later. He says, "Yeah, I saw you at that gig, and you didn't really get it, but you get it now, don't you?"
Well, what I mean, I can't remember. Did that end the show, the fight, or did we carry on?
I think you carried on a bit after that.
Yeah, I don't remember
I
at all.
I think, but it was a sort of significant cultural detail.
How long was we playing before the fight started? Not that long.
Not very
right?
long. It's
yeah.
about a third number.
Okay,
possibly
yeah.
the second number.
Yeah. Oh well, what are you going to do? So it was good at the time.
It was great.
Because that was the early days. That was way before,
before it became absurd.
Yeah, like everything else does.
Yeah.
That was the good time, and I'm sure every band says the same thing. When you're driving up and round in a van, up and down London,
yeah.
you're all getting along because you're not made any money, you're not really famous, and there's no, there's that thing that happens, I say it every time, that when you get success, band members change.
Yeah.
For whatever
of course.
reason. Egos,
Yeah.
birds trying to break it up, saying, no, you don't need them. You could do a solo record.
Of course.
Whatever.
We know who you're talking about.
All the all the leeches come out. Whatever. Anyway, that little period, that year and a half, I think, before the Grundy,
Yeah.
because that's when it changed.
But that wasn't such a big deal, I watched it
Grundy?
at the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't really. It was. You know why it was on the front pages of all the papers? Because there was an IMF deal was being done at that very moment with the Prime Minister to kind of save the British economy. And so it pushed that scandal.
That was a distraction.
So it was a distraction.
Don't tell me that was set up as well.
Well, it wasn't a setup, it was a good excuse, wasn't it?
Because no one told me what to
That's
say.
what was further on,
Well,
I'm just assuming that was
Yeah.
that they seized on that to kind of, push that story to the back further into the papers.
But I don't see how, because none of us was aware of that. And McLaren didn't say anything. Go out there, boys, and swear. He didn't say any of that. I got drunk. I had like 3 bottles of Blue Nun in the thing, and we just went out there and we let him have it because he was asking for it.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't think it was set up in that.
Oh no, it wasn't set up. I
But
mean,
it definitely what? But the papers got on it.
Papers got on it.
Who were puppets?
And I never believed any. You know, for example, you know, has anyone ever named the lorry driver in Essex who kicked in his TV because he was so furious?
Well, that probably didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
He didn't exist.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
McLaren made that one up, or the press,
press made
department made it up.
Let me tell you something. After that, McLaren, he asked himself after we did that show.
I know.
Terrified.
I know.
I thought like he's going to get the electric chair. He had that look on his face, like he's getting executed.
I know.
But then, a little while after, took all credit for it.
Yes, of course. Of course.
You know, you've met McLaren 1,000 times, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he was a complete scamster.
Yeah.
You know what the thing about the difference between him
And a hamster.
and the difference between him and Bernie Rhodes was that Bernie had some warmth about him. It was quite funny.
Yeah.
But I always thought McLaren was a bit of a cold fish.
Yeah.
Hard to kind of figure out, you know?
Yeah. I had a soft spot for Malcolm.
No, I can tell from what you said in your book.
Yeah, I
you
really
know?
did. And but you know, he wouldn't be the number I'd call if I was in jail for someone to bail me out.
Because he wouldn't turn
He
up.
probably wouldn't answer the phone. Although apparently he did go to court for me. I'd got nicked. I have no recollection of this. Cookies told me this, that I was got nicked for something, and he went into the judge and said, save this boy, give him another chance.
It's in your book.
Yeah, I had no idea though.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you for the life of me what went down. And it's funny. I was young too. It's not like my brain wasn't working. I don't get it. Anyway, now you got. Is this condoned by Jimmy Page?
No,
your
no,
book?
of course it's not. Of course
And
it's not.
you're allowed to do a book about anyone, and you don't need to get
You
their
don't
permission.
need to get their permission, no. But I mean, it's kind of a respect. You know, I thought that Led Zeppelin were fantastic when I first saw them. I mean, I saw them in January 1970, the first time, which is the second album's just come out.
Yeah.
And you know that album was just tremendous. And this was a show at Leeds University. They played for about 3 hours, and the last 20 minutes or so, the encore is all kind of Eddie Cochran numbers. I loved Eddie Cochran anyway. And the interesting thing, because you're talking about punk, is that, of course, by the time punk comes out, you know, Led Zeppelin are considered the absolute, you know, cultural wastrels, you know, the epitome of kind of
Emerson, Lake and
personification.
Palmer.
They're like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the super groups that have to be done away with. But actually, when they started out, they were completely underground. They were like punk rock themselves. You know, they wouldn't go on TV. They wouldn't release singles. You know, they wouldn't kowtow to the record company. They did all the deals. They were the first act that. Apart from Dave Clark, actually, Dave Clark 5,
Yeah.
who had much more money than the Beatles, because he did this, he licensed his tapes to the record company, and that's what Led Zeppelin did.
How did he get that knowledge? Did he have a
He was
smart
an
dad?
accountant. Dave Clark was apparently an accountant. That's why
Wow,
he
that's
knew to
unheard
do
of.
it.
He's a smart dude.
And he made much, you know, the Dave Clark, people forget that the Dave Clark 5 it was kind of almost as big as the Beatles.
Here, there was a period where they sold way more records.
Absolutely, and they made loads more money than the Beatles because of that. And that's what Led Zeppelin did. They licensed, you know, they paid for the Page, and I think John Paul Jones coughed up a bit, the bass player, and Peter Grant, the manager. But largely Page paid for the first album, which was recorded at Olympic in downtime, and it cost less than £1,800. Probably a lot still in that time, but they had it. And they went, first of all, they went to Chris Blackwell, who had Island Records, who was in the same building as Peter Grant. And he offered them 25 grand for world rights apart from the United States. So using that, and they did use it really, Peter Grant and Jimmy Page came to New York in, I think, October or November of '68, and they go to Atlantic, with whom Jimmy Page already had a relationship, because he'd worked with Bert Burns, who was the guy who revived the career of the Drifters, Save the Last Dance for Me, Benny King, Stand By Me. He did all those tunes, and he'd worked with Burt Burns and he co-wrote Twist and Shout, and he'd worked with him in England. So through him, he'd met Ahmet Ertegun, and so they got the deal. They got this huge deal, basically.
Yeah.
But England didn't want to know. Ireland, dropped out when they heard the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Polydor, as they were then known, were offered them for, I think, £35,000, not interested at all.
Yeah.
So Atlantic got them in the end for the worldwide. So, but the point about that is that they were kind of considered like punk rock in those days.
Sure.
And it was real underground stuff. They sussed out what was because.
Well, Page was a big 50s fan. It's obvious.
Page is a big fan of all. He loves, I
mean, Plant loves 50s. I don't know about
both of them.
Jimmy.
Did. Oh no, Page has turned on to the guitar playing, but the guitar playing on Elvis Presley's "Baby Let's Play House." I mean, that's it, know. And Plant also, interestingly, because he was a Midlands mod. He was into kind of into reggae as well, not reggae, ska, Bluebeat is known.
Early stuff.
So they had all that stuff going on, Well, and also, the interesting thing about Plant, of course, one forgets, his first American tour, which starts on the 26th of December '68, Denver. He's 19.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
Yeah. Well, like we were.
Like you were, actually. Yeah. Come to think of it,
Yeah.
how old were you when you came to America? With the Pistols.
Oh, I don't know, 21, 20.
Yeah, but still, you're kids.
Same thing.
So he was terrified actually at that first gig in Denver.
I'm sure,
because he doesn't know how they're going to be received. In fact, they go down fantastically well. They're supporting Vanilla Fudge.
Yeah.
Who were very big.
Yeah.
I liked Vanilla Fudge. Vanilla Fudge used to rearrange classic tunes like the Beatles' Eleanor Rigby, for example, heavy organ-dominated group, and also the Supremes' "You Keep Me Hanging On," which in the UK was the first hard rock record in the charts.
That's
top
right.
10 record in the charts.
Fudge version. It's like a long version of it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Slows down.
Yeah, exactly. I always thought they were great. I bought the album.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they toured a lot with them. They're also on Atlantic.
Okay. Well, let's play some Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin. Jonesy's Jukebox. Here we go. I'm going to mess this right up with music journalist Chris Salewicz.
That's it.
Is that close enough?
That's fantastic.
Okay, take it away. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox, KLOS. That was Cool Impossible. That was Joe Strummer that's an unheard song on his new box set, 001.
Yeah. Which he did with Cosmo Vinyl, who was, the Clash's kind of, the fifth member of the Clash, really.
Showman.
He kind of got Joe into the studio during Joe's kind of wilderness years, as it were.
Yeah.
It's either 92 or 93. They're doing it at Rockfield in Wales, a residential studio.
Exactly. Zeppelin did a lot of stuff there, didn't they?
No, Zeppelin never did.
That's what I said. Zeppelin had nothing to do with that studio.
No, they never did anything there. But that was the only tune that they... Danny Thompson's on bass, I think, and I assume it's Joe on piano, but that's the only tune they got out of it. But I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like a real... What Cosmo said, he says he wanted to be like sort of bohemian jazz kind of feel, and he said he thought that was a good direction for Joe to go in.
Yeah.
But that was the only one that they got out of it. But it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you ever do a book on Strummer?
Strummer, yeah, I did. Redemption, the song.
Was that one legit?
Strummer. Yes, it was. It was completely legit. I came on this show to talk about it. Yeah, it was completely...
Was I there?
Yes, you were here. Yes, he was in a different building.
That was years ago.
A long time ago. Yeah. So when was it? 2007?
Somewhere around
like
there.
that. Yeah. So I did that because I knew Joe, and I came here to do research. It took a long time, that book.
Yeah.
I like that book.
Before that was the 101ers, Keys to Your Heart.
Which is also brilliant, isn't it? I used to hate the taste of cheese. It's one of the great lines.
What was the label he was on then? Stiff? No.
Chiswick.
Chiswick.
And the irony of that was that you did your gig with the Pistols supporting the 101ers.
Yeah.
And they've just done a deal with Chiswick for the record to come. So that's the beginning of April, 76. And they'd recorded it already, Keys to Your Heart. It's coming out in the May. But because of your gig, and I think particularly his conversation with Sid, who was there in the background and wearing a leopard skin jacket.
He wasn't in the band.
He wasn't in the band, but he was just like hanging
punter,
around, And Joe realised there's something else going on altogether.
Yeah.
So when Bernie Rhodes asks him 2 days later at, I think it's the Red Cow in Hammersmith.
Yeah, the pub, yeah.
Yeah.
On the roundabout.
To join, what was to become the Clash. He sort of goes for it, basically.
Yeah.
But it's kind of because of your gig, the controversial gig.
Yeah, he admits that.
Yeah,
Joe.
of course. He knew it's time to move on.
Yeah, 101ers weren't going to go.
But the irony was that they just got their first, the 101ers after working hard, had just about to have that record out, which is a great record.
Yeah, yeah. Then we had The Who, Long Live Rock, one of your favourites.
No, I don't like that one so much, really. The Who.
What do you mean you asked to play that?
No, I didn't. But I'm going to. But I was mentioning Led Zeppelin that when I saw them the first time, January '70, and 2 weeks later, The Who live at Leeds.
Same place,
there.
right? I was just
Same
about
place,
to ask
yes,
you.
Leeds University. It's 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So there was a fantastic social secretary there called Simon Brogan, who actually afterwards became a tour manager for Jethro Tull and hated it so much he left to become a crofter in the Scottish Islands.
A crofter?
Farmer.
A farmer?
Farmer.
Oh, cropper.
Crofter. No, they call themselves crofters.
That's what a farmer's called?
In Scotland, yeah. It took me a long time to understand that too.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
worry.
news to me.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I couldn't figure it out.
Farmer Giles.
Exactly. But anyway, he just put on these fantastic bills all the time.
Yeah.
So Led Zeppelin next week. I've no idea who was on. It's probably like Family or someone like Family always seem to be on.
He
But
sounds
then
like a goat, doesn't he?
So what? Being a crofter.
No, the family singer.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, yes, absolutely. No, you can hear. Yes, exactly. 100 yards. You can call up a herd of goats.
There's a comedian in America. What's his name? The comedian in America. Jim Brewer.
Okay.
He does a thing called Goat Boy on Saturday Night Live. It sounds like the geezer from Family.
Great.
A ringer.
River of light.
We should play that song.
It was a great song.
Yeah, if you like goats.
If you like goats, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people say when they review him, they liked him, but his voice got on a lot of people's nerves as well. But
Yeah,
I didn't mind it.
No,
Lay down easy, stars in my eyes. We had Led Zeppelin, Good Times, Bad Times. That's what we started off with. Listen, you're doing a show at Book Soup.
Yeah, tomorrow, April the 3rd, 6:45 p.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
With
Native Wayne.
With the legendary Native Wayne Johnson going to be
man.
interviewing me. Respect, man.
He's sitting over
Good
there.
brethren.
Look at him.
He's sitting over there.
Come say hi. Come now.
Come now, man.
Maximum respect to the Wicked Jonesy.
Yeah, boy.
And
yeah, boy.
And I wrote some of this book. Wayne was around at Goldeneye in Jamaica, which Chris Blackwell now owns, and where Ian Fleming had written all the James Bond books.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for a bit of stuff to rub off, obviously.
Yeah.
But Wayne was around during that time, and we hung out.
Definitely, man. And Sting wrote the whole Synchronicity album there at Goldeneye as well. So
Oh, yeah?
it's like a place that gives vibes,
Yeah, so we got some, we hope we got some good vibes into the book from
But
that.
we have to give Jonesy a hard time because he's never been to Jamaica.
You should go.
Big
You'd
reggae
have a
fan and
great-
he's never been.
You'd have a
That's
great
crazy,
time.
man.
Jamaica's fantastic, man.
I'd like to go if I went with Native
You need
Wayne.
someone who knows the runnings.
I'm not going to go walking down Orange Street.
No, you
have
wouldn't
my
really want to
trainers
do that. You
pinched
don't
off
want
me.
to do that. Strange things could happen.
So Native's going to be there
Tomorrow night, yeah. 8818 Sunset Boulevard, West Hollywood.
Plus a book signing.
Soup, and we'll be signing afterwards.
Not like the book that I didn't get that you didn't sign.
No, well, I'm very sorry. I'm going to have to get in touch with my publishers as soon as I leave here.
Chris Salewicz.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Salewicz is fantastic.
Salewicz.
It's fantastic.
Okay, I've
It's
got it
perfect.
now.
It's
Salewicz.
Perfect.
Salivate.
Salewicz or salivate.
Is that another one that people would say?
Yeah, I've had that one, obviously.
What else?
I've had that. Yes, silly bitch.
Silly bitch,
Yeah.
sandwich.
Yeah. All of them.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. Are we visiting the Duke? We're not. We're rocking and rolling. What's that? Diamaker?
Jamaica.
Oh, by Led Zeppelin? Yeah, check it out,
Check it down there.
You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Led Zeppelin. Did you make her?
No, she came of her
Own
own
accord.
accord. So, oi, 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 oi. And that, of course, that was as a consequence of Robert Plant's visits to the kind of mod bluebeat clubs in the Midlands in the mid-60s.
Yeah. I was a big fan too when I was a skinhead.
Yeah, you couldn't help it. Did you notice, though, that like all that Trojan stuff,
Yeah.
which was like 68 to 72, it was kind of much faster paced, wasn't it, than the stuff in like about 75, 76?
Yeah. I think they was catering to skinheads. Or was that before skinheads?
No, it's the skinhead. That's the time of skinheads, because of course people mustn't forget mods became either skinheads or hippies.
Of course,
basically.
yeah.
People forget that.
Yeah.
But so were they catering? I don't think they were catering for skinheads, because a lot of those tunes came from Jamaica, already.
Yeah, okay.
That was just that, because it was like that shift from.
Well,
rock.
there was Skinhead Moonstomp.
Yeah, there was.
obviously.
Yeah, no, and in fact there is even a Trojan box set
All
called something
dedicated,
like
yeah.
Skinhead Reggae or something.
Yeah.
I've got it. But it was interesting. Yes, exactly. And there wasn't the kind of, there became racist associations with skinheads.
That was later.
But it's later. It's much later.
There was no races, as far as I know. We had black guys who were skinheads.
Exactly.
Who were mates.
Exactly.
At school and that,
Exactly.
But do you remember that other clown, Judge Dredd?
Yes. It was hugely successful. Ridiculous.
Oh man, it's so tuppence. But it's funny.
It's funny, I know.
Big 8.
Yes.
Big 9.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
He probably made a few quid for
I
no
think
talent
he made
whatsoever.
I think he made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there were the Trojan Tighten Up series,
Yeah.
which always had some sexy girls on the cover,
Yeah.
but were fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, they were magnificent records.
Yeah.
Trojan Tighten Up number 2, I remember.
Yeah.
particularly.
I got all that stuff.
You have it, I know. I'm sure you do.
I'm going to play a Bob Marley song when we come back from the Duke. Live. Is it live at the Lyceum?
Yeah.
It's
Which
a
one?
Great album.
Fantastic. I was there. Were you there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Possibly. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
I go in and out. My memory
Right,
just goes in and out.
No, I was there. Second night. There were 2 nights.
So give yourself a plug.
Myself a plug.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow night.
Jimmy Page book.
Jimmy Page, my book, Jimmy Page, the Definitive Biography. I'll be reading from it tomorrow night at Book Soup, 8818 Sunset Boulevard, West Hollywood, and being interviewed and talking with my good brethren, native Wayne Jobson.
That's
Come,
always right.
we will have fun. Niceness guaranteed.
Yes. Well, thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much indeed.
Good luck with your unauthorized book of Jimmy Page. Do you think he's going to get the ump when he reads it? Or is there anything where he's going to be embarrassed by or anything?
I think it's okay, because I think he's also a great artist. You know what I mean? I mean, I think the thing about Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin is they're like his art project. He went to art school, and he learnt assiduously how to produce records and how to create records, and how to the look, everything. I mean, it's almost like, to be honest, Led Zeppelin is like his piece of conceptual art, and that's a very strong theme in the book, that he's the great artist.
Yeah.
He's not just a musician; he's actually a great artist.
Yeah.
So I just don't see why he should get too upset about things.
Yeah.
People know about the sex and the drugs, you
Yeah.
know. But my line on it is that he is this great artist.
Yeah.
And don't forget, as we were saying earlier, in 1977, everyone, he's a complete behemoth. He's the personification of everything that's awful about the music
punk
business.
band.
Music business. Now he's the kind of considered the greatest of all classic rock artists. Certainly in Britain, I suspect here too. There's no one like Jimmy Page. I mean, there was no one like him because Jimmy Page lived in a castle with a moat. He had, he looked. Michael DeBar said he knew He knew the perfect way to exit a limousine. He understood the absolute
Yeah.
essence of rock and roll.
Yeah. Was the Aleister Crowley stuff funny, or did he really?
No, he was into it.
He really was into
He was
it.
into it. But I think that the pub. It is suggested now by him and by others that Peter Grant played it up.
Yeah.
Because but allegedly, he would go into kind of Atlantic Records in the early 70s in New York, and girls wouldn't flock to him. They'd hide because they were worried he'd be turned into a toad or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Yeah.
People were very frightened of him.
Yeah.
But I think it was played
Persona,
up.
yeah.
I think it was played up usefully.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of Jimmy Page.
It's impossible not to be.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
I hear he likes it. I remember he was out here for a while, and he was driving around a limousine and playing Nevermind the Bollocks over and over again. Did you ever hear that story?
I didn't know he was playing Nevermind the Bollocks, but I do know that on that, I think it's the last tour that they did.
Early
he's
80s.
playing this is when
The
Led
Damned.
Zeppelin were doing their last. He's playing the Damned all the
Yeah.
time.
So he got it.
He got it.
He got it. He got it.
And they played reggae. When in 1975, when they're playing Long Beach. Robert Plant has got a copy of The Harder They Come with him
Yeah.
in the limo
Cliff.
to play before they come on stage.
Yeah.
But actually, because of the traffic, they don't get there in time, so it doesn't happen. But, they understood it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for coming by.
Thanks very much, Steve. Thanks,
Chris
fantastic,
Salewicz.
man. Great.
Well done. Good luck.
Thank you.
See you in a minute.
On the next Frosty Heidi